I recently spoke about training up in different areas, like the fact that I was talking about the fact that I might look into renewing my forklift licenses. But that was literally just yesterday. So what happened was I was inquiring about these licenses, whether to get like reach, counterbalance. There's all sorts of different forklifts you can do. And one of the companies reached out to me. It was in my junk folder. I just found it. And they literally had an appointment for today. So that's out of the blue. I only inquired yesterday or the day before. And they said if you can get down here for 10 a.m., you have a slot available today to get it done because I only need a refresher for the day. But it's an entire RTITB license, which is the main one. So it just opens some doors for the time being while I wait for maybe a breakthrough in other areas, really. But it's better for your physical body, you can do other things. So anyway, I thought I'll do it. I thought I might as well just get it done and go down and have a look. So I took it. I have actually passed it, so I've got my license now. I don't know how I receive it at the moment. I'm trying to ask them the way when what's the process. But no, I've passed it. I did the physical test. I've had the theory test, and it was all a pass. That's nice to know. I am thinking of going back and doing the reach truck later. I'm not sure yet. I probably will. Just might as well get them. But like the instructor was saying, he was saying they don't actually expire. It's just that the companies often expect renewals. So maybe every 3 or 5 years, they expect you to refresh, like have a refresh. But in theory, the test that I had, where I've got one of the cards from 2009, that may still be active. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because I've passed now anyway. But it just opens some doors for the time being. All of a sudden, when I'm looking for local work, I can look anything that says forklift. If it says counterbalance, boom, I have the license. I can go for that. If I get the reach truck, of course, I can do that. The test itself isn't that easy. I don't think it is. And I'm good on a forklift, but you can't. If your hands are tied behind your back to an extent, because of course you're being held accountable and expected to operate at perfectly. But some things you just you just don't naturally do once you're using a forklift. Of course, it's all about safety. It's all about being thing. But there's certain maneuvers I would personally do that I don't feel you need this. But if you don't do it, it's marks against you. For instance, every time you do a maneuver, it's handbrake, handbrake, handbrake. You can put your foot on the brake. If you know what you're doing. And it's just different. There's different ways to maneuver. The chicane thing I had to do. It was you had to do it without any pallets on it. So you had to drive through the chicane and then reverse through the chicane. Then you had to have a pallet on it. It's very tight. Like it's crazy tight. But I managed to do it, and I managed to do it 3 times in a row without hitting anything. So it was like all the way through, back again, all the way through, back again, all the way through, back again. Then put the pallet down. Then there was things to do in the racking. Now that annoys me, the racking, because normally if you've got pallet inside and it goes on a rack, for the most part you would use a reach truck. You wouldn't really find yourself on a counterbalance that much. The reach truck has more. You can adjust. You can make small adjustments. You can make incredible adjustments on a reach truck, whereas on a counterbalance it's far more rigid, so it's harder. So if you don't line up perfectly the first time, that's a problem, because they won't let you use side shift on a test. Now, anyone that uses a forklift knows you can use the side shift. So it's just easier. Of course, it's not essential, but it solves a problem. So effectively, you put the pallet on the rack. If it's not 100% perfect, points against you, and it's like this is crazy. And there's no way of adjusting it. So I was doing it. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to take the hits. If I don't do it perfect, I'm just going to, because every time you make an adjustment, that's a point against you. But I thought I'd rather have a point against me for the adjustments than get it right, than half-arse it. But yeah, it was a whole process with that, man. And it was like, I haven't been on a forklift for about 1.5 years, but I'm in a normal environment. I'm perfectly fine. In an environment where you're being tested to hell, it's like, damn, I haven't. You got to get the turns right. Of course, you can practice a little bit, but you don't want to be practicing all day. But it's more the fact you just got to ace it all the time. So as soon as you do a turn, you better be lined up. You better be lined up because you're going to be putting that pallet somewhere or taking it out, and you need to make sure it's obviously balanced. But every little thing you're doing is being analysed. Effectively, what happened was he said, because I was getting a bit frustrated with the points all the time. It's like point for this, point for that, point for this, point for that. I said, freaking hell. I said, there's a lot to think about, every single thing, Um, so he said, I'll do a mock test for you. Like, we'll do a mock test just to see how it goes. And because I don't know if he planned to just call it a mock test and it was the test, but either way, it was the test. Because, by the time I'd finished, he said, you passed. And I can't remember. I think he said it took you 22 minutes. So you get 40 minutes to do the test. I think it's 40 minutes. And he said it took you 6 minutes, I think, to do the chicane. I think 6 minutes to do the chicane. The rest of the time was doing the up in the rack, doing the racking and maneuvers there. But yeah, overall 22 minutes. He said sometimes people take longer than the 40 minutes and they lose a point for every minute, like over. And that happens sometimes. The theory test I got, you're allowed to get 80%. If you get less than 80%, you fail. I think I got 87. I did say to him, there's a couple of questions there that I'm not sure. Because the answers are actually quite familiar on the theory test. It's not, you could easily, like when you got multiple choice, for instance, you could easily pick 2 more. So it's like, wait. Obviously, it's only 4. So you've got to figure this one out. Sometimes it was only 2. And some it was just 1 answer, out of the selection. And it's like, I knew I did well. So I was like, you know what? I'm just submitting this. This is it. I know I've got a couple wrong, but I've no doubt I've passed. And I got the 87% on that. So I was quite happy with that, to be totally honest. Got there at 10 a.m., finished by 4. More the fact that we was just chatting all the time, to be honest. It was like, the plan was to finish at 2:30, he said, because you have to do, if you do a refresher, you have to do a minimum of 4.5 hours. And that would have took me to 2:30. But yeah, we were just chatting quite a lot, really. Yeah, it's quite interesting. But again, it's like that's the pressure cooker, really. That's where you have to be ace in it, because obviously you ain't going to get a pass. He said, "Yeah, I got." So I managed to do it. But like I said, I'm thinking about going and doing the reach truck, because if I got the reach, pretty much apart from a construction yard, anytime there's a job that has a forklift element to it, I can apply for. So effectively, if I feel I can do a warehouse role in general, I can apply for that. If I see any forklift related jobs in a warehouse, I can apply for that. Any yard work in a forklift, blah blah blah. So it just gives you options, really, and it takes you out of the physical side of the warehouse. Because even if you have to do a little bit of physical work, it's not like all day, is it? Um, yeah, literally, that's quite crazy, isn't it? I woke up, saw the email, and it said if you get it by 8. I mean, I think it's about 8:15 when I received the email, and I saw it, and it said if you can get it for 10, and you can have you can take part. And so literally, before 8 a.m., I had no clue. By 4 p.m., I've got my license renewed. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But like I say, I probably will do the reach just to get it all covered. Even though, like, as you saw at the very beginning, I've got my books and things, and it's not like my be all and end all, but it pays the bills. I want to start giving myself more options. I want to have more happiness. So, like, I need to get all this sorted. So it's always nice to have little bows to your repertoire. New other skills, other elements. It gives you options, doesn't it? Because why not? But yeah, it's worth looking into it. Really, I think I was asking him how many days is it normally. I think he said it's usually 3 to 5 days. If you haven't used one before, 3 to 5 days training, which ain't too bad, really. So no reason not to get involved and try and learn some things. There's obviously other skills you can pick up. You don't have to just do those two, of course, the reach and the counterbalance. But like I say, it's so freaking serious, the tests. You have to literally be on it. And I'm not, at the moment, like I actually did that with 2 hours sleep. I wasn't going to do it because I thought, I'm tired, man. I've had 2 hours sleep. I stayed up really late. And I thought, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this. I definitely ain't going to do it if I feel there's a risk, I won't do it. But I was awake enough that I thought, I can handle this. Now I'm exhausted as shit. The reach I find more technical, but I actually do enjoy using the reach truck. But it's whether I'm in the mood to really push myself to get that one yet. But it doesn't make much sense because it did say that the appointments were in like 2 weeks. I think 14th or something. Of February. But when I was talking to the trainer, he was like, I'm available next week, so it might be worth talking to reception and see if there's any, see if they can book it for, if you're interested, do it for next week. So like I say, I may do because it just gives me options. You know, as soon as I'm looking at warehouse work, for instance, like I said, and you get all these forklifts, I can just apply for all of them. That's a great place to be, isn't it? Like even if I never even use it and something takes off, let's say my book's finally something happens where you get to do something more interesting. That's nice. But I do actually enjoy using a forklift. I actually do enjoy the work. So if anything, it just puts less pressure on the other side of my life. Like I can still build towards what I'm trying to build, but there's less. But then I put less pressure on myself because I'm fine in other areas, and I think that's what's really important. Otherwise, the pressure just keeps building, and I drive myself nuts because I think the breakthrough should have come in my life. Um, but yeah, it was a cool experience to be honest. But you just feel like you're under the spotlight all the time, no matter what you do, and it's more the procedure. Handbrake, constantly looking, adjust this, and then you've got to have. And it's like I don't always operate the forklift in the same way they say. That I personally think that they expect you to be too close to the racking when you adjust your forks, and I think sometimes there's a risk you're actually going to clip the racking, and I just think that's crazy, personally. But it's the way it is for the test. The only reason they say that is just in case anyone walks in front of the forklift, but people shouldn't even be around a forklift when it's active. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, anyway, I've got that part of the forklift done now, which is outrageous that how quick that come about. I've only really been recently thinking about it, to be totally honest. I just thought, might as well have a look. I literally found a centre right near my home. Literally, it was 2 minutes away. How crazy is that? Like all these times, you're thinking, where's the nearest centre? Which one's going to be any good? How far am I going to have to travel? Blah blah blah. And it's like, wow, there's one literally really close to me. That is outrageous. And they do have a training as well, which is quite interesting. It's not just forklifts and things. You can do a health. You can do first aid. You can even train to become a trainer. Train to become a forklift trainer. That'd be cool. But I've got other aspirations, of course. Like, I only share these videos really just to inspire people really to be proactive about their life, their career, and don't always wait for things to happen. That's the thing. I see a lot of influencers. They're just always saying gift, gift, gift. They're too famous to go to a traditional job. You're never too famous to do a traditional job. You're never too above yourself to do that. That's what I'm trying to show people. Like I have big dreams. I hope one day my books get recognition. I hope they help people. I hope they change my life. I hope what I do here, where I talk on camera, that provides a career opportunity, and I get a breakthrough somewhere. Things just pick up out of nowhere. That'd be nice. But until that day comes, let's keep working on other aspects. I'll still continue editing and writing my next book. I'll still consider, recording the audio books, but I'll still consider going into traditional work and making a living that way. Literally, we have the tools to do what we need to do, and I just think we can't be holding ourselves back. So yeah, it's about taking action, and that's literally what I'm doing. So it's going to be interesting over the next, I think, few weeks while I try to decide where I am, like what if I apply, what jobs to apply for, where I see my future. But this isn't a reflection of where I see my long term future. The long term future, I still have big dreams and goals. It doesn't deviate me from that. It just makes it a bit more practical in the meantime. Not nice suffering financially all the time, and always waiting on a miracle. So yeah, we do this, but like I say, I probably will look into the reach truck. On the one hand, it's pointless because I can effectively anytime there's a counterbalance forklift job, I can apply for that. Don't really need the reach. I'll have a look. I'll have a look. Um, because sometimes when you have one license, sometimes companies will invest to train you in the others, and because I've already previously done it in house, it may help that in that respect. Um, yeah, I don't want to waste money unnecessarily. But at the same time, if it lasts 3 to 5 years before you really need to be looking to do renewals, it's a long period. It pays for itself, doesn't it? That's the thing with these sort of things. They pay for themselves over the long term, and you're not destroying your body in the process. That for me is one of the main things. You're saving your body. from taking the hits. But hopefully it's got some way to helping people, you know. I don't know. I don't know at the moment. I'm so tired right now. I just really wanted to show to people that, I've managed to do that in a day. I'm so tired right now, though. I'm just so tired.